arithmetic that's written. Do I have to write it down? You have to have written this equation so that you know what to do. So 3. Simplify. Always simplify. Can I simplify it any more? How you add? If I read this, 17x plus 297 minus 11x equals 375. These two aren't side by side, but they're on the same side of the equal sign. They're both on the left side of the equal. I can do that arithmetic. How much is 17x minus 11x? 6x. Those two together combine to be 6x. Don't forget the 297. Don't forget the 375. You write the whole problem down. You don't write half a problem. You write it all down. Still trying to solve. Always simplify. I don't think I can simplify anymore. Now I have to do the arithmetic. I have to do something to both sides. I have to solve. I want to remind you of another piece. PEMDAS. What's P stand for?
Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally.
Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. P is parentheses, E is exponents, M is multiplied, D is divide, A is addition, S is subtraction. If you're simplifying, you have to simplify in that order. Important. If you're solving, if you're simplify, but if you're solving, you're solving going up. So when it's time to solve, I'm going to do the add and subtract. Before I worry about the 6 times, I'll do the add and subtract. So I'm going to subtract 297 from both sides. And I know what to do because I know PEMDAS. If it's just arithmetic, PEMDAS. If it's solve, the other order. So the add subtract comes before the multiply and divide. Good news, I chose those so that they give me 0. 6x. 78, is that what that is?
Yes.
Why do you write things down? Write them down to look at. It says 6x is 78. It has a multiply. What's the opposite of multiply? We'll divide on both sides. We show division that way. 6 divided by 6 is 1x. We only write the x. 78 is 13. X is 13. Are you done?
No.
Not quite. Not quite. Because the question wasn't find x. The question was how many elms, how many maples. But you use what you wrote. X is 13. X, the number of maples, is 13. The number of maples is 13. But the question is, find the number of elms and the number of maples. The number of maples is 27 minus x. But how much is x?
13.
So 27 minus 13,
14.
there are 13 elms. There's 14 maples. It's a jigsaw puzzle. How many of you have ever played Sudoku? Yeah, a couple of you. You have to figure out a place to start. Once you get that first number in there, then it works from there. That's all this is. It's a puzzle. But you have to start with the easiest part. And the easiest part is making sure you write down what's given to you. Get the information down, then write an equation. Once the equation's written, solve the equation. Solve, always simplify if you can. Solve, do something to both sides, but always look to simplify. Do you want to do easy or do you want to do hard? In Sudoku, do you want to do the green one or do you want to do the gold problem? The gold one's a whole lot harder than the green one. Okay? Green ones are easy, gold ones are hard. Do the easy one. That's a review of what we did Thursday a week ago. I want to start with some new things today. Formulas. A major part of this course will be based on formulas. A major part of the course will be based on formulas. Use the formula, I equals PRT, to find I if P is 12,500, R is 8%, or 0.8, 0.08, and T is 1 year. Watch me. Do you need to write things down if you want to understand? It gives you a formula. On your paper, write the formula about here. I equals P. I equals P R T. They've given you the formula. Write it down. Now the next piece, you're gonna say, do I really have to write this down? And the answer is yes. The advantage in having a teacher that has 50 years of experience is I know what's necessary. Put this on paper. Now I'm going to write I equals, P equals, R equals, and T equals. And I want to know what I know. What do I know? What am I trying to find? Use the formula. I've got all the letters of the formula. To find I. I is what I'm trying to find. I is I. I is the unknown. I is the X. It's the thing you don't know. It tells you P is 12,500. It tells you R is 8%. Thursday's lesson is all on percents. Teach all about percents Thursday. Or 0.08. We'll write it as a decimal. Time is 1 year. I is I. P is 12,500, R is 0.08, T is 1. I've already used 2 words that begin with S that are important. I've talked about simplify, I've talked about solve, I got another S word. The other S word is substitute. Substitute. And I've gone through the thing, I know, I think we talked about it, I don't remember pulling out a 10 or a 20 and somebody making change with me. You'll change 2 10s for 20. They're equal. You'll let them take each other's place. When things are equal, they can be interchanged. I is I, but P is 12,500. I replace the P with the number. What is R? 0.08. Better yet, I equals P times R times T. Times. You know it's times because if you read it out loud, you say it. We show multiplication in parentheses. R is 0.08, T is 1. This is, it's an equation. An equation, simplify if possible. Simplify. Simplify means do the arithmetic. Yes, please.
Wouldn't you put 1 year as 365 because you're finding interest?
Time in almost all situations, and I'll teach this later, time is almost always measured in years, unless it tells you to do it in days or weeks or months. If you're not given a direction, the default is years. Great question, thank you. Do the arithmetic, simplify. So you punch it into your calculator, and it becomes a calculator problem. You punch in and try to get all this clear. 12,500. On the calculator, I can use the dot button, I can use the parentheses, it doesn't make any difference, 0.08. This time I'll use the parentheses, 1. I do the arithmetic, it gives me an answer of $1,000 even. And the question was to use the formula. We've used the formula, but the key, what you put on your paper, is you write the formula. You write it down. You identify the pieces that you have. What's it called when you replace the P with 12,500? Substitutes. Substitute. All of you, God willing, I'm not going to miss any days. I'm not going to get sick. And the truth of the matter is, unless I'm dying, I'll be here. Okay? But you don't want a substitute teacher.
Good movie.
Okay? You would prefer me to be here, I hope.
We do.
Okay? But you know what a substitute is. It's something that takes the place of. You read what you've written. There's arithmetic to be done, do it. And the problem's finished. Formulas. Formulas are your friend. Okay, the good news is you're not going to have to memorize many formulas. You're not going to have to memorize it. They'll be available to you. Remember, my purpose here is to help you be prepared to be a procurement specialist. I promise you on the job, your boss will never say, here's a problem I want you to do you've never seen before, and under penalty of death. Don't look it up in a book, or don't look up on the computer how to do the thing. What kind of an idiot would you have for a boss if they didn't let you get your resources together? The formulas will be available to you. You'll have the formulas you need. It's not a course in can I memorize the formulas. It is a course in can I pick which formula to use when they're there for me. Let's take a look at the second one. This time, we're going to find time. It's the same formula. I equals PRT. It's the exact same formula. It tells me solve for T in the, I apologize. I didn't write the right formula. Yeah, it's up top. There it is. Use the formula I equals PRT to find T. Find T. T is what I don't know. If P is 4,000, I is 720, R is 9% or 0.09. Remember, on Thursday, I'll talk to you about how to change decimals, percents to decimals. That'll teach you on Thursday. So right now it's being given to you. You've got the formula. Write the line below it that you should write. Write the line below it. You do it on your paper. Make sure you're getting it correct. Do the substitution. Hopefully what you have is I is 720, P is 4,000. I don't care what method you use for multiplication. I'm going to use in parentheses right now. T is T. That's what you should have. It's an equation. The equations we have to solve. But the first step in solving is ask, can you simplify? Do you see any arithmetic that can be done?
Yes.
What arithmetic can be done?
4,000 multiplied by 0.09.
You didn't do this. You've got to do that. What is it, $360?
Yes.
If you do this multiplication, does it give you 360?
Yes.
T is still T. I did what was written. That's why I write it down. Look at what's there. 720 equals 360 times T. Is there any arithmetic? Can you simplify? The answer is no. Now I have to solve. The word solve means do something to both sides. And you always do the opposite. Let me read it again. 720 equals 360 times T. It said times. The opposite would be division. It said 360 times. I'm going to divide by 360. And I always do it to both sides. Here it's easy. 360 to, that's why I chose it. That's why I chose it, because the 360 divided by 360 is 1 T. But I don't like the 1. 720 divided by 360. Some of you can do it in your head. Some of you will punch the calculator. I don't care. But T equals 2. There's 2 years. If you'll do the preliminaries, if you'll write the formula, if you'll put this on paper, substitute, and go through them, can I simplify? What do I do to solve? These things work amazingly easy. This one, example 3. I want to say something about that one. Figured it out. Good news is you will not be tested. I will not give you this kind of a problem on a midterm exam or a final. Please notice, I didn't say it won't show up in a homework or a quiz, but it will not. The algebra in this one is beyond what I really want you to know. It may show up in a homework or a quiz. It is considerably more difficult algebra. The formula, M equals the letter P, parentheses, 1 plus RT. And what it says is solve for T. Solve it for T. Other than the 1, there's no numbers up there. That's kind of weird. You're used to having problems with numbers. This is a pure algebra problem, and it's not really part of this course. But when I'm done, one side or the other, I want it to be T equals. I don't care which side it's on. I usually like it on the left, but it doesn't matter. I know where I'm aiming. I want T equals. I'm going to show you how to do it. If it shows up on a homework or a quiz, live with it. It won't show up on your midterm or your final. Is there any arithmetic I can do?
Yes.
And the answer is yes. It's called the distributive property. P times 1 is just P. And then there's the addition. P times RT. Believe it or not, solving, you go that way. I can't simplify anymore. It's time to solve. What I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract P from both sides. Because T is what I want. T is what I want. T is tied up in both a multiplication and an addition. I'm solving. I got to do the add subtract part first. So I'm going to subtract P. On the left, watch, eyes here, I want you to see what I'm going to write. M minus P. I can't get an answer, but I can write it down. It's M minus P. On the right, these two are a 0, P minus P. So on the right is P RT. Does that make sense? Where am I ending? What do I want the answer to look like? T. I'm going to read what's there. M minus P equals P times R times T. I'm looking to get T alone. The rest of you feel like whining too, but only the dog gets away with it, okay? I want to get T equals. I do the opposite. P times R times T times. The opposite of times is divide both sides PR. PR over PR, I'm left with T. I can't do any arithmetic, but I write it down. M minus P divided by P times R. That's what that problem asks you to do. Will not show up on a test. Will not show up on your midterm, your final. It may show up in a homework problem. It makes sense. It makes sense because you're hearing me. When you have to do it, talk to yourself out loud. Let your earns $7.89 per hour. Man.